Welcome, 100th episode. Wow, I made it. Yeah, reaching 100 episodes is not about perfection, it's been about consistency. For me, it's a journey that has been quite rough because there are times I felt motivated. There are also times that I felt like, I don't really feel too much motivation. I don't really feel up for doing this, especially during the times that I've had technical issues. My schedule's been busy. So it's meant that reaching here, for me, it's been a great milestone. And I thought a lot of you have heard my voice. Hardly any of you know how I look. So I thought the 100th episode would be one of my face. You seeing how I look. So for me, I question whether anyone's actually listening to this, whether anyone's gaining from this. And I had to put those thoughts aside and just continue recording the episodes. So for me, one thing I've learned is about progress. It doesn't come from waiting until everything's perfect. It doesn't come from waiting until everything's in order, everything's in place. It comes from just taking the next step. Yeah? Taking each step as it comes. And even when conditions aren't ideal, things aren't in order, you can still progress and take the next step. Over the past 99 episodes, we've talked about numerous things. We've talked about communication. We've talked about anxiety. We've talked about self-esteem, relationships with intimate partners, relationship with family members, relationships with siblings, friends. We've talked about a whole host of topics. We've talked about boundaries. We've talked about healing and the challenges that people experience when they don't always talk openly. As a therapist, I've heard and seen a lot. Yeah, I've heard a lot, seen a lot, and the one thing I've noticed is that people are carrying things silently. So if there's one message I hope you take it from this podcast or any that you've listened to, is that you don't have to struggle alone. Asking for support isn't weakness. It's one of the strongest things that you can do. Yeah? And for me, let me tell you a bit about myself. So I'm a British-born Ghanaian, born and raised in northwest London in England. I enjoy traveling, riding my bicycle, also riding my motorbike. I set myself a challenge once to ride from London, UK to North Africa, Morocco. And I did it. I did that a few years ago, and for me, I've been scared of riding a motorbike because when I was younger, I burnt my ankle. You can't see it, but I burnt my ankle on the exhaust pipe of a motorbike, and it made me petrified of motorcycles. So to overcome the fear, I exposed myself to the fear. What fears do you have that maybe you might want to expose yourself to help feel less scared of it? Who knows? Yeah, what else is there about me? My favorite food is a Ghanaian dish. I call it a Ghanaian dish. Well, it is Ghanaian. Jollof rice. It's like a rice that's mixed with some sauce, and at the end, once it's made, it's like a dark reddish orangey color. Delicious. That's savory. And when it comes to sweet food, my favorite has to be cheesecake. Oh, I absolutely love a cheesecake with a thick, crunchy base and the cream cheese. Anyway, let me behave myself. Yeah, so that's a wee little bit about me. And for me, these conversations that I share on the podcast, they matter to me because I'm hearing a lot from people on things that they're struggling with and not having anyone hear them, understand them, or know who they can reach out to or who can listen to even what they're experiencing. So when I'm recording these podcasts, I'm getting feedback to say, wow, it felt like you were talking to me. It felt like you were talking about me. And that's like, wow, For me, I'm surprised because I wasn't aware that people were experiencing things to that level. And that encourages me to keep recording, keep going, and to just ensure that I supply and provide as much content for you all to listen to as often as I can. The conversations have also helped me to grow as well, because I'm having to do research before doing each podcast. It's helping me to grow professionally and personally. So for me, the podcast primarily were for my gain. And if any of you can gain in any way, shape or form from listening to the podcast, I feel blessed and I'm very grateful. So if there's any topics you feel like you want me to cover, you want me to talk on, feel free to drop me a message. If there's anything that I've covered previously that maybe you want me to expand on, drop me a message. I'm open and I'm willing to discuss any topics around the counselling and the therapy field for you to benefit from. And the one thing about these podcasts, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone. You know that friend that's going through that thing that you heard on a podcast and you thought of that friend, or that relative that's experiencing something in their life and it highly resonates with what you heard on a podcast? Just share the podcast with them. It costs you nothing to click, share, and click the person you want to share it with. I really appreciate all the support from everyone, whether you've listened from episode 1 or whether you've just started listening now. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the time you have invested in listening to the topics that I've been covering. And I want another 100 episodes to be as great or even greater than the first 100. Thank you all once again. Have a blessed day and look out for it. There's going to be more episodes, more content, and more topics to be covered. Thank you all once again. Take care.